Hey guys, welcome back to part 4 of my setup tour and modules tour. And as you might hear, my voice is not getting better, it's getting worse. I hope I can do the video, but wanted to do the PIQUE module, ZADAR and Maestro. Then I would have all of my modules, which are good to have the oscilloscope here because you need to see something. The rest then will be oscillator filters, effects and end of chain stuff. And I think here I have to change the setup a bit that I can talk and show you in the meantime sounds, because it makes no sense to do it without hearing something. So you may have watched part 3 of my journey, and again what I learned, and that's good, is that I have modules I do not really know because I haven't used them, or I have used them but have used it only for a part of what it can, like this one, the Later Audio PIQUE, which is a clone of the mutable instrument PIQUEs. Or I'm not sure if clone is the right word, because mutable instruments which have built really cool modules, they're not in business anymore and made all their code open source and public, which means everybody can use it and alter it and add things and build modules with that. And this is really good, cool thing what they did. But now back to that. So I'm sure when I bought it, I knew much more. Then I haven't used it for a long time, and in the last time I used it, but only for these, what you see, envelopes. Just 2 simple AD envelopes. I can just here, can make short and long and plucky, retrigger. Yeah, and it can do much more. The original PIQUEs could do more. I will go over the details in a bit, but not too deep. Hopefully, you know that's not my strength, but I try to. But here on this module is an alternative firmware. It's the Deadman's Catch firmware. And the original PIQUEs has 4 modes: envelope, LFO, tap, LFO, and drum, and has 3 control modes, which is split mode. You have 2 of everything, so you have 2 envelopes, or like I showed in the last video, now I have 2 single envelopes, attack decay only. When I switch here to the twin mode, I think it's called, I have ADSR envelopes, 2 of them, but the setting is the same. I have attack, decay, sustain, release for the envelopes, and I have 2 of them. I can trigger 2 of them, but the settings are the same. So if I change here the decay to short, I try to press both simultaneously. You see, again. Okay, I increase the release. You see, I increase attack. Okay, so you see, this mode is you have more possibilities to shape the envelope, or to create not only attack decay but also sustain and release. And additionally, what I perhaps did know some time back but not now anymore, is you can hold this button, then it blinks. This is number 1. I can change number 1 to an LFO. Now you see the first channel is an LFO, and the second, when I press again, it blinks twice, it's an envelope. I have no envelope. So this is the expert mode, where you have 2 separate things ongoing on the same time. Okay, now it blinks double, which means I can adjust channel 2. If it blinks once, I can adjust channel 1. If I press and hold it, I'm in the normal mode I knew. And this is what Peaks from Multiple Instruments was all about. You have the 4 modes, you have the 3 control modes, which is really cool. And that's it, as far as I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the Dead Man's Catch, just to have show you this. These are the modes this firmware introduces. So I think it's 23 or so. You have envelopes with double attack, repeating attack, randomized bouncing ball could be interesting if you need such things. LFO, you have a folded sine FM, a random FM, folded sine mod shape, a phase locked loop oscillator could be interesting too. So it seems to create audio rates. Then you have tab modes like sequencer, pulse shaper, pulse randomizer, a Turing machine. This could be interesting. Drum modes with FM drums, randomized drums, and so on. So the firmware's name is Dead Man's Catch. And so if you want to have a small module, or there are others than this 1U, for me the 1U is perfect, this would offer you a lot of possibilities. I'll show it again. I don't think you can read it, but I can paste the link in the description. So just to let you know, and this is why I yesterday in the last part I accidentally did hold this mode button here too long, and then you're in the alternative modes. I didn't know, and then blinking here, blinking there and there, and I didn't know what it is and how I can go back. And this is what I said, why I personally do not like these multi-modules so much, because I think when you, like now for the video, it's cool, because yesterday when I did the last part, perhaps you realized I got a bit upset because I want to understand how things work, and for me it's a bad feeling if I want to explain something and I can't, because I realized I just do not know. And then you know, perhaps, that my videos are always a one-shot thing. Like you're doing something live, or in real life when you talk to somebody, you cannot rewind and correct and polish what you say. It is what it is, and the same for me here. When I do a jam, when I do musical stuff, noise case generative things, or these videos here, my approach is you record it and you publish it. You do not cut things out or polish or correct things in you can do afterwards, but it is like it is. This is my approach, and for me it's good because it helps to, I can just encourage you, because to do things, and when you do a mistake, you do a mistake, but every human does mistakes, but the important thing for me is to learn and to do it better next time. And same here. So you may understand that when I recorded the last video, and I think I got to this module after half an hour or so, and then it got absolutely wrong, and it was in a state where I could not use it anymore. Yeah, it was my mistake, not the modules, but I had the choice to do what to do, because as I do not cut, I would have to do the whole video completely from the beginning again with all modules. And this is why sometimes you get a bit, or I get a bit upset, not too much. And I know it's my mistake, not the modules one. But this is why I personally like easy modules, which, like the filter here. Okay, you have your knobs, you learn. It has different modes, yes, but it's not too complicated, in my opinion. So it's not complicated to turn a switch, okay, but to understand what it does is a different thing. So, and to get a feeling what will happen when you do this or that or that, this is what is interesting for me as a modular guy, because I want to get a feeling when I change the balance or the resonance or the span of the filters. This one is a dual peak. Is it okay? I'm not going into detail, but you know what I mean. Hopefully, it has a couple of knobs, and it's a complicated module in my opinion. It's not so super easy like others, where you just turn one knob like a mixer, and it's easier. It's louder or not so loud, or more or less. And here you have influence on each other. So this is a complicated and perhaps complex when you use different things module, but the usage for me as a human user of that is easy, because I have knobs and switches and faders and these things. So this does not change. And in the multi-modules, for me personally, it's often, in my experience, when I tried out different things like the Distinct Sleepers MK4 or the Ornament and Cry module I had, and this the name I forgot last time, I realized that for me personally it's not working. I want to have one knob or fader or button and know what it does, and a bit of menu is okay. Or here, like the Javelin, yeah, you can change things here, but it does not change the whole module. It changes parameters of what it is. And the multi-modules, sometimes it changes the module itself because it does completely different stuff. So enough of that. I just wanted to explain why I personally like this more static, I say, modules, because when you use such a module, you should be aware that you should use really good, you should know really good how to use it, what it does, and how it works, because when you're in the situation that you do a jam, or better, you're doing some live stuff, whatever, and then you have this, like me yesterday, when I just pressed the button too long and it changed everything, and it's in another mode. I don't know what it is and how I can revert it. You have a real problem, because even if one or the other smiled or laughed when I did this mistake, because okay, it's easy, you have just to press this once again. So it makes so please be aware when I do the video. It sounds like I'm calm and so on, but this is kind of a live situation. Yeah, you're not live here, but my approach is to record it and just publish it without editing, as I said. And this is kind of live. Yeah, it's another level if there are real people around you. That's clear. But the point at the end is when you do such a mistake with a module, because again, it's not the fault of the module, it's just me not knowing it enough, then it can screw up your whole performance and your joy. And so again, and last time, if you use modules, try them out. And this is why I reduced my setup to, even if it's not a small setup, but much smaller than before. The goal for me was exactly that. Use a couple of modules and try to get a better feeling for them. Try to explain it and see what I know and what I do not know. And about this, I didn't know much. I think I knew when I bought it. But then it's like often in life for me, when I do things I'm interested in and digging deep into it, I know it very good, and then after a couple of weeks or months or so, like here, you don't know it anymore. You know there was something when you perhaps, but you have no intuitive usage of it anymore. And this is in modular, in my opinion, not good when you have to deal with the module itself and not with sound generation, CV modification, all this. It's when you have to deal with the user interface of a module to change something and you don't know how it works. It's, for me, it's exhausting, and this is not what makes me happy. Okay, again, 60 minutes, sorry. Okay, so we had the envelope thing. I switched to LFO mode. You see we are in split mode here, which means we have two LFOs. And again here, the one channel is these two knobs, and the other are these two. So, and the first one, this upper one, is a frequency. You see it? I can, okay, this is good. And the second one is the shape. I can change the shape and the frequency. And same for the second one. So it's always the same. When you understand the concept, it's okay. So split mode, and then you have what you select here: envelope, LFO, tapped LFO, whatever. And then you have two knobs to adjust things, and these are mainly the most important things. Like for the envelope, attack decay, and for the LFO, the frequency and the shape. When we now switch to twin mode, you see we have same again. This is the frequency. This is the waveform. That's a good question what this is. I knew it, but I forgot it. Okay, this is kind of what it is, resolution of bit crushing, LFO bit crushing, whatever. And I knew one is about phase. So I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, for me it's not so relevant. But it's cool. You have your LFOs. You can create more complex things. I will not go in expert mode. Just back here. And then the next one is the tapped LFO mode, and this is interesting. I think it's a clocked one, and let's just take a clock in. This one here, the upper one. I got it from Pam. And this is why I love the LED cables for this. so you see the clock, you got a feeling, and okay, I make it faster. You see the upper one going faster and slower again. So it's a tap, so you can tap it by yourself with the trigger buttons, or you can use a clock or whatever. And what I can change here then is somehow the form. And the symmetry. Seems like symmetry. Let's see if you find something. Okay, this, when you have a look here, and I change the other knob to the middle. Yeah, it's a symmetry. It's ramped down, and now it's ramp up if it to the right. So you can change the symmetry. Okay, I'm not sure what it does when I use the multi-mode. I have clocked only number 1, the upper one, so okay, you see. Okay, so if you want to use it, have a look and dig into it, and you should use an oscilloscope. You can create tapped or synchronized CV here. What's good, because when you stay in your rhythm. And then we have the next mode is drums, which makes no real sense because you don't hear it, but as far as I understand, this one, what you see here, is a kick, and the lower one is a snare, as far as I understood. And then you can perhaps change parameters. So I haven't used that, but it's a cool little module. I loved it before, and as I said, I only used it for envelopes, for 80 envelopes, 2 of them. The rest I did not use, but especially the expert mode, where you can use an envelope, a LFO at the same time, or perhaps a drum. You could use a kick and you have an envelope in the same module, which is cool, but you have to dig into it to understand how it works. Okay, now honor restored. But this is just good, because yesterday I realized I don't know how it works, and now I have a feeling and I know what it can. I sadly assume if you would ask me in 2 or 3 months, I would have forgotten everything again and would only know what I have here, what I use, like the envelopes. But it's to everybody's taste. So when you buy modules, just be aware that you have to try out what you like and what you have. Here I have, in a really, really small space, especially with the one new module, LFOs, envelopes, tapped envelopes, drums, and a Turing machine with this Deadman Sketch firmware and so on. So it's a lot in here, but you don't have the interface for it. So you have to know, or you have to look online or in the manual how it works, and then when you use it often, you know it. Okay, enough of that. So the next module is ZADAR, which I really love. It's you can use it as it's an envelope generator, and you can loop it. So you can use it as a looped envelope. Difference from LFO, as far as I know, is the envelope here is unipolar, and you cannot change it to bipolar. Okay, so you have 4 channels here, A, B, C, and D. represented by A, B, C, and D. And you have a screen here, so I don't need the oscilloscope, I think. I'm not sure. I hope you see it good enough. Oops. I'm trying to zoom, but I hope you see it. Okay, you have really cool shapes in here. A lot of them. And as I said, you can use it as an envelope, or you can use it as an LFO or looped envelope. And let's go back to channel A. You see this is a ramp. When I now trigger it here, trigger A, I hope you see this. Then every trigger, you see this black line showing what's coming out, perhaps. Okay, sorry, just a second. I try to get it on the oscilloscope here. Okay. So this is what's coming out. And now I can do different things. Now every time it's triggered, it's running the whole roll form or shape. I can change the time, how fast it is or slow. You see it's going slower and it's re-triggering, which means even if it's not finished, when a new trigger comes in, it starts again, and you can change this here. Now you see it's going the whole shape here on the oscilloscope too. It's not re-triggering. You can change that here. And additionally, let's see. Sorry, camera. And okay, I stop the triggers here. Like I said, you have different forms like these. You can change the shape of that. When you press the buttons, they have all alternative functions. So this one, you can select the shape. When you press it, you can invert it or mirror it. You see. Then you have here this, I hope you can read that on the screen. This shows the time one cycle is taking to go through the whole form or shape. Okay, let's do it. Sorry. We can see it. Okay, here we can set the repeats. This is important. I think it's easier. If it's only one, if you use it as an envelope, or it's infinite, then it's looping envelope, or you can create 2 or 3 or whatever. So when it's triggered, it runs 3 times or whatever you like. Okay, now you see it's going through the cycle. And here, this is exactly the same form. And here, what I can do here is change the voltage. You see it here. And reduce it. And I have a flat shape. Put it up to 5 volts. You see. So this is cool. You have a very good feeling, and everything can be CV'd again also. So this is that, and then you can, when you press this, you can set a sustain. when you use it as an envelope with which is for a gate with sustain, you can define where this sustain is. Like here at the peak, I'm not sure if you see this small line here at the peak, so which means when I would send a gate and it's high, it would stop at the sustain level, and when I release it, would goes with the rest. Then you have here warp control, which changes the shape, and when you press it, you have response control, which changes the shape too. So you can create really interesting shapes here. So we have shape, inversion, sustain, voltage, speed, warp, and responsive. So like you see, you have a lot of possibilities here to create a cool envelope or a looped envelope. Then you have, as I mentioned, 4 channels. You can trigger everything like you want, or you loop it here. What you can do also, and this is really interesting, is you can assign this CV here for every channel to what you like. So here for channel A, we can define here, I hope you see that, that we want to, here I selected warp, which means the warp, what we did with the knob here to change the form. We can define that here input A is has influence on the warp, and we can select how much, like 70%. Yeah, here we can do other stuff, but we do not need that. You can save presets and load presets here. Okay, and now we just add our lovely black octa source and put it in assign A. Let's see, it should have impact on the warp, and yeah, you see it. Now my manual warp control here, what I could do manually is now, depending on the black octa source, I can speed it up, I can slow it down. And what is interesting, you can self-patch it, so you could use and you could use an envelope. So let's try this out. I'm not sure if it works. Haven't tried it yet. Okay, we're putting our peak. Sorry, the peak module, and now you see when I send an envelope, the form on ZADAR changes. So let's use longer envelope, which more attack and decay. Let's see. Let's see when I fire it, or short attack, longer decay. Okay, so you see you can do a lot of modification here, and you can self-patch it, as I mentioned, and you can create really cool shapes, and you can trigger them, then it's synchronized, and there is one expander I have, but I haven't used yet. It's, I think, 2 HP, and there you have additional assign checks for the channels. So here, right now, we have, like we said, the warp is affected because we selected it. And additionally, now we could, like, warp, or you see this is response. I could not do this with CV right now because I need to turn the knob. I have only one assigned, but with the expander, I could assign the second check to response and put an LFO or whatever in. And then I would have the possibility to alter these waveforms completely. So this is really cool. It can create interesting things, and it's really cool for generative things, because it's when you mix the right things with the complex octa source waveforms and things we did before, you can imagine that nobody can predict what's coming out. Okay, so battery is 18% of the camera, so we are 35 minutes in. So I would like to finalize this here and try to be a bit faster. Sorry. So the last thing I have here for modulation is the Acid Rain's Maestro. Zoom out. This is a really cool module, but it's really big. So it's for me it's more like a performance tool, because you can in real time change things with the buttons. That's cool. It's not so small and not so static. But I need an oscilloscope to get a feeling what's coming out. So let's just see. So the Maestro has its own clock, but you can clock it externally. And we have all these 6 channels here. You can create 6 CV streams, or how it's called. And what is cool here is that you can, just a second, hopefully you see it. It's okay. The mirroring effects. Okay, so now we are on channel 1, this one here, and I just change the voltage so you see it a bit better. Channel 1, and now it's a ramp down. You see it, ramp down, and 1/4, or here is the speed. I can change it to the half, and then you see it's getting slower on 1/8, 16th. Let's say at the half. Okay, the ramp down, you can change it to ramp up. Now see it's ramp up, or different things. You can just make it high or low, or a square wave, or random, which is interesting. And then you can, now we have this, you can smoothen it. When you change it to smooth, you see it's a sign. And you can add bipolar. So this is a bipolar CV, not only unipolar. You can change that. And you can do triplets. And you can mute channels. This is cool. You can also attenuate it somehow, but they did not include it initially, so it's a shortcut somewhere. I'm not sure. I have same here. I bought this module and used it, and it's cool. And then I haven't used it for a long time, and as it's not on the interface, the attenuation, I only know that there is a possibility because they updated the firmware, and you can press something to attenuate the signal. So I'm not such a big fan of this soft attenuation. This is why I have this lapsus os from noise engineering here, because I can go out here and in here, and then have my attenuation unipolar or bipolar here, and with that I can just take the signal, I can add an offset, so I could mix 2 of them in here to create a more complex thing, and so on. So this is why I